Since the Hyundai Tucson's latest generation came out in 2022, it's been one of the most eye-catching compact SUVs out there, with only the Kia Sportage giving it a run for its money. Now, Hyundai has decided to give the Tucson a facelift for 2025 and update the interior to better keep up with its rivals. As for Kia, for 2026, the Sportage has been significantly redesigned with some tweaks that tame its front fascia. With a refresh focused on tech and style, the Sportage continues to lean on its spacious interior, generous list of standard features, and solid value to make it a competitive player in the segment. So, to help you choose which one is actually better, in this video we'll compare both SUVs' designs inside and out, pricing, and how they drive. So, without any further ado, let's get into it. For starters, the front fascia of the Tucson refines the design of the current model. The grille and headlights are where the bulk of the changes happen. The hidden LED headlights are now reshaped and sit proud of the surrounding grille, which has horizontal elements of various thicknesses. The grille, on the other hand, is even bolder by making its elements larger and subsequently reducing the amount of daytime running lights from 10 to 8. From the profile shot, not much has changed, which is great since it has one of the best-looking side profiles in the category. But some new wheel designs have been introduced which look even better than the previous ones. Out back, fewer updates were made. The same imposing taillights with the massive LED bar connecting them remain unchanged, though the lower bumper now features a slimmer middle section where the XRT trim houses a much sharper-looking diffuser. As for the Sportage, its update is a complete departure from the current model with a redesigned grille that's slightly bigger than the previous generation, flanked by chunkier new vertical LED headlights with a new DRL lighting signature replacing the outgoing model's boomerang-shaped ones, giving the front end a more aggressive look. From the side, not much has changed, and that's totally fine. The Sportage already has a great looking side profile, so that really didn't need any updates. As for wheels, it comes standard with 17 inches, with 18s and 19s optional. Out back, it sees even smaller changes, mainly revised taillight styling with more vertical elements, in addition to smaller tweaks to the lower parts of the bumper to make the back end seem wider than it was in the previous generation. All of these changes really add up to give the edge to the 2026 Sportage over the Tucson in the looks department. Jumping inside, the in-cabin experience is where Hyundai applied most of its impactful changes for 2025. We criticized the previous Tucson's fuzzy touch-sensitive controls and just general lack of physical buttons. Well, it seems like Hyundai has listened and implemented more user-friendly knobs and switches. This new setup looks like a big upgrade for ease of use and ergonomics. The dashboard has also been redesigned. Gone are the wraparound chrome accents on the dash in favor of a slimmer and more horizontal look with a two-tier design. A redesigned steering wheel adopts the brand's Morse code H motif. Tucked just behind it is a new twist action shifter. The infotainment system has also been updated. It's now available with two 12.3-inch displays under a single glass piece. The interface itself has also been revamped with faster processing speeds and better visuals, while wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto is now standard across the board. Add the newly available head-up display, the fingerprint scanner on the dash that can be used in place of a smart key, and the new addition of over-the-air software updates, and it's clear there's a lot of new content here. As for the Sportage, this generation is more refined. The dash now has a cleaner look that ditches the vertical air vents in favor of horizontal ones that blend better within the dashboard, in addition to a new flat-edge steering wheel replacing the previous model's round 3-spoke one. Personally, the steering wheel is the only change to my eyes that's a downgrade to a really good-looking cabin. As for instruments and infotainment, a new panoramic display now features dual 12.3-inch displays combined into a single panel that curves slightly towards the driver. These are now standard on every trim instead of being optional on the previous year's model. Wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto are standard and now can integrate into a new 10-inch head-up display. When it comes to the cabin, I find both interiors equally handsome, so you really can't go wrong with either one. When it comes to interior and cargo space, the Tucson's supportive front seats get 41.4 inches of legroom and 38.1 inches of headroom. It's in the back where Hyundai starts to flex its muscles with a massive 41.3 inches of legroom and 39 inches of headroom. Of its competitors, only the Honda and Toyota are marginally larger in headroom. Cargo space is also impressive, with 38.7 cubic feet available when the 60/40 rear seats are up, or 74.8 with them folded flat. As for the Sportage, the front seats are good with ample side support and it's easy to get comfortable behind the wheel, with pretty much identical space to that in the Tucson. The second row is spacious too, with comfy cushions and fantastic overall space. Again, the measurements in the back are very similar to those in the Hyundai. As for cargo space, it's slightly larger than the Tucson's at 40 cubes with the seats up. Fold them down and you get the same 74 cubic feet. Pricing for the 2026 Kia Sportage is expected to start around $29,500 and go up to $41,000, but the mid-range EX offers the best bang for the buck, adding desirable features such as dual-zone climate control, wireless phone charging, and heated front seats. The premium package is also a very worthwhile option, adding a panoramic sunroof, LED interior lighting, and a power liftgate. As for the Tucson, the SE starts at a lower price of just $28,355, but the trim level to get is the SEL Convenience at $32,665, and it comes loaded with the new dual 12.3-inch displays, wireless charging, keyless entry, heated front seats, and adaptive cruise control with lane keep and assist. As you can tell, both SUVs cost around the same, so which one you end up choosing will mainly depend on which model styling you like the most. When it comes to on-road performance, both SUVs share the same powertrains, a 2.5-liter naturally aspirated inline-4 producing 187 horsepower and 178 pound-feet of torque. In the Tucson, the run to 60 miles per hour takes 8.8 seconds, but passing maneuvers from 50 to 70 miles per hour requires 6 seconds of wide-open throttle. It feels mature and comfortable to drive, but there is a bit of a disconnect between how the Tucson looks and how it actually drives. The angular looks suggest it's sporty, but from behind the wheel, it's all about comfort. It's fantastic on highways and city roads alike. There is enough give to the sidewalls on 19-inch tires to take the sting out of bigger bumps, while suspension's dampening is finely judged, smoothing out any unwanted harshness. It's also impressively quiet, with very little road or wind noise making its way to the cabin. The brake pedal is also pleasantly progressive, despite featuring brake regeneration on the hybrid model. The 2026 Sportage uses the same engine as in the Tucson, but both feel better and more refined with the hybrid setup with a turbocharged 1.6-liter 4 and 2 electric motors. This combination is both more powerful with a combined 231 horsepower and is more responsive than the base engine. When you hit the road, the Sportage is pretty chill to drive. It's got decent ride and handles well enough, but don't expect it to be super exciting. The steering doesn't give you much feedback, the brakes are a little soft at first, and the throttle can be a bit lazy. It's not exactly a thrill to drive, but for everyday stuff, it's totally fine. It's not as sharp as something like a Mazda CX-5, but hey, it really gets the job done. Even with the beefy BF Goodrich all-terrain tires on the X Pro model, it still held its own with 0.84G on the skid pad and stopping from 70 miles per hour and 180 feet. And surprisingly, the tires don't break the gas mileage. It hits 31 mpg on the highway, which is way better than 28 mpg it's rated for, which is really not bad for an SUV that's more about comfort than carving corners. All all-wheel drive models also gain a new terrain mode for driving in snow, mud, or sand. Here is the long and short of it. Both SUVs are very similar, considering that they are based on the same platform, but it just feels like the Sportage is a more complete package, especially considering how better it looks compared to last year's model. But one thing is for sure, you really can't go wrong with either one.